Hey, True Believers, England teen here. So there's a thing going on in comic books nowadays. It seems like the morality of superheroes just going away. It doesn't seem like they're acting heroic anymore. Not in any kind of old-fashioned sense where they're looking out for the little guy, the actual average person. What they seem to be doing is more looking out for I'm going to say it. They're looking out for more of an agenda. They're looking out to make sure that the climate is clean. They're making sure that the Green New Deal is set forth. If you don't agree with that, you're every bit as bad as a human being as you are in real life if you're not following this particular agenda. Focus. All right. I want to talk about that tonight. I read a couple of books. We, of course, have been talking about Jonathan Kent and Superman and how he's become a villain. I think the proper way to write Jonathan Kent at this point is he's the injustice Superman waiting to happen. I've seen it more and more throughout comics since, as you said, since 2013, Eric. It seems like these new writers that have come along, they don't believe that there was a comic book history, that these characters had any past. And what gets me is the older writers that go along with it, that act like all of this is brand new. And these characters haven't had a core to them. That Spider-Man isn't about responsibility, or you know that Superman will always do good, always. Therefore, that's his superpower. There's so many things that these modern writers don't get, and I want to touch upon them tonight as we go along. I know this opens up. I'm wanting to hear from you guys in the chat as well, things that you find where it seems like the writers are writing villains, or at least they're just writing basically superhero as Antifa members. Eric, what do you think about this?
Okay, I'll start with the older writers that are going along to get along.
Mm-hmm.
You got to remember, it's a passion for us. It's a job for them.
Yeah.
For a lot of them. And if my boss came to me and said, well, if you want to keep getting that paycheck, we're going to, you're going to have to do things a little differently. You may not agree with it, but, whether you do or not, if you want to keep working, here's what you do. Most of them are just going to go, man, cool. It's like I say, it's a job.
Yeah.
As far as when you say writing Antifa members, well, the people that the industry, the reader base that they have tried to morph the old one into, out with us, in with the new.
Right.
They, one of the principles of a lot of people is narcissism, because you've grown up being told you're special and that you're right and they're wrong. Well, if every individual can be right, then who's wrong then? And you get writers that believe that as well. So if they're writing a hero that we look at and say, this is more like an Antifa thug, they see that as heroic, because they're fighting the man, they're fighting the patriarchy, the way things used to be. And it's like that story we're going to talk about in XMen Green. If someone doesn't align with your politics, they feel entirely justified in even murder to remove that obstacle to their beliefs. And that is a horrible message to send, but it seems to be, more. We do seem to see more and more of that with each year.
The thing is you see, you were talking about, oh goodness, I lost my train of thought and it just started. I think I'm derailing, sir. Hold on, what were we talking about that I wanted to? I brought up Superboy, who is now in Superman, son of Kal-El. That's Superboy. Kal-El is Superman. Superboy. That's another thing we've got to talk about. But it seems like they justify it. They justify. Now, granted, all superheroes tend to be, or most of them anyway, they're bad guys on a certain level. Batman's a vigilante. Being a vigilante is against the law. So okay, I get that, but they seem to have like Superboy attacking the border patrol because all these people should just be let in because Tom Taylor doesn't care about borders. Therefore, Superboy doesn't care about borders to the point where nobody's going after Superboy for attacking the border agent, for destroying the handcuffs, for freeing everybody, for threatening him that if he does his job, something's going to happen. We see this as heroic. There's no longer, it seems, the rallying cries of with life comes hope. It's now you're evil if you don't agree with us.
Yeah, and I do want to point out that it's funny how many of the open borders crowd change their tune when it comes to the possibility that somebody might have crossed a state line.
Yeah, I know, right?
Funny how that works.
Yeah.
But yeah, as I said, Tom Taylor sees the border agent as the villain. So of course that's how he's going to write him. And Superboy basically using, thug tactics, that's perceived as somehow heroic because he believes it and the people he's writing to believes it. The people that look at that and that's their last issue of that comic don't.
Yeah, it's gotten pretty bad, but this isn't something new. Now we've been doing this for about 6 years now. And I remember talking about a book during the 2016 election. Kamala Khan, Ms. Marvel, the new Ms. Marvel. It's all about getting people out to vote. And she bursts into the mayor's office and starts yelling at him and telling him what to do. Boy, you better do good or we're going to give you what for. She rips into him. I'm thinking that if I were to write it from then, it would be the mayor getting on the phone. Yeah, we're going to need security. And since this person seems to be a superpowered individual, we're going to need some serious security. Yeah, it's Ms. Marvel. I seen her around. She just threatened me in my office. And by the way, guys, violence for politics is terrorism. But they don't seem to understand that anymore. The morality of superheroes is dying because these comic book writers do not understand true morality. It's ridiculous.
If I may, real quick, if modern comic book writers wrote with the sensibilities of the writers when I was young, that would be the storyline. That Jay Nakamura is manipulating, John Kent into being all these things because he's the bad guy. Here's the problem. In 2021, a gay character cannot have flaws. That is against the unwritten rules. Ask Leah Williams. So that's not going to happen. He's going to be
the Leah Williams thing.
Oh, she did the thing in that X-Men book where she killed a gay character. One of the X-Men, that was a storyline, and she got death threats for it. Even though that gay character was an X-Man and could be brought back. Just for putting a fictional gay character through a traumatic episode, she was given death threats by the same people that Marvel and DC try so desperately to court as readers.
And then that same guy came back and murdered the guy and walked away free.
But so that's if it turned out that Jay was manipulating and was working with Bendix, that would make a great story. But they're not. Even if he wanted to do it, which believe me, he doesn't. He wouldn't be allowed to.
Yeah, that's it gets ridiculous like that. Damn. But you're right. But that's part of the problem because
to heal him, Jay. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. It's Jay is written like a villain. Yeah, but that's how we see it. But the audience that they're going at, Tom Taylor is writing him like a hero. And the people that he's trying to reach will see him as a hero. And that's the difference. That's the difference between, that's why I said that the comic book industry, as I said, it's very hard. The best way I summed up is, if you've been reading as long as I have, if you vote Democrat and believe that Biden is doing a good job, there's still plenty of good comics for you to read. If you don't happen to believe that, like myself, it's few and far between, because there is no nuance, there is no subtlety, there is no neutrality anymore. It's basically, it's a lecture. If it's a lecture that you happen to enjoy sitting through, the industry there's still plenty for you. I've just found there's nothing left for me on a regular every Wednesday basis.
And it's getting more and more for other people as well. I've noticed. It's just to the point where we're tired of being preached to. Of course, that's been going on for quite a while now. Mm-hmm. But it's as if they're not even bothering to listen anymore, and that's one of the big problems. I'm seeing more. It's like you brought in a little bit of real world politics. It's like the people who think that Kyle Rittenhouse should have been arrested. You didn't watch the videos then. You did not watch the trial. You didn't see, you made your mind up a long time before and you're keeping going. It just seems like these, when you go to these writers, when you talk to them, when you say, well, you're doing this, this, and this, they just go, well, you're a racist who doesn't get. What the hell does race have anything to do with the fact that you can't write?
They can't be, no, these writers, they can't be confronted about their, what they consider to be, truths are actually false, and they mimic what they see in and the news, and flip it, and try to say, oh yeah, this person is they're turning heroes into villains, because they don't they watch too. I'm just gonna say it right now, they watch too much CNN.
I watched the one of Tristan's videos. She did one on X-Men Green today, and I went into the comments, and someone said, not to bring politics into this, but have you noticed the people that think that Kyle Rittenhouse did what he did in self-defense are the same people defending this X-Men book? And I'm thinking, you can't be that stupid. And I started to type that out, and I go, I'm almost 60 years old. I'm not fighting this. I'm not fighting this.
Yeah, let's make a video of it. Let's talk about it on the video.
Yeah, but,
that's the place to do it.
Yeah, CNN, where just the other day, Anderson Cooper said Jacob Blake was shot and killed.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one thing when Jalen Rose, who needs to look at his driver's license to spell his name, says it, but Anderson Cooper, he is the lead source at CNN. So
yeah, I didn't read the X-Men Green. I don't know how much we'll get into it because I have no freaking clue. It's just what you guys want to talk about as far as that's concerned. But what you told me was an X-Men straight up. Say again.
He said, I said, I'd rather talk about this.
Yeah. So an X-Men straight up murdered somebody, and then every other X-Men acted like it was no big deal. Now, this would have been a big deal back in our day. And yes, I'm going to use that term there. Back in our day, we would have, or the X-Men would have been like, holy crap, you can't kill. One of the big arguments between Cyclops and Wolverine was that Wolverine was way too violent when he was out in the field and such. Nowadays, for them to be doing that, I mentioned this, though. This is something I noticed for a long time. The X-Men stopped being about students, became, I would say in the 2000s, became militaristic. They stopped, and that's something, and this is the problem, of course, with a lot of comics, is there, as it was said in Kingdom Come, they're focusing on the super and not the man. It doesn't matter it doesn't matter whatever comic book you're looking at. They're focusing more on the super than they are the man. X-Men, they're focusing more on we've got to make sure that we've got the right team for this and we're going mission. Bitch, you're a school. Okay. Where are we getting, when are we getting the stories at home? In the past, you would always get that baseball game. You would always get the downtime in between the stories, and that's what made you care about the characters. It seems like there are no humans occupying the worlds that these Marvel Universe characters, or even DC these days. It's just the superheroes.
That's not true. There are humans but they exist only to stand behind the hero as they pose for a selfie.
There you go. Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Today, the retrospective we did today was Iron Man 131, 2, and 3, where it's a Hulk story.
Mm-hmm.
Where I don't know if you remember it, but it starts with the Hulk sitting in the rubble of an overturned fruit truck, just eating all the fruit. And then, he's like, Iron Man tries to stop him. He does this and that. And then the little kid starts playing with him, playing Micronauts with him and whatever. But Bruce realizes that he can't live like this anymore. So he wants Tony to either cure or kill him.
Yeah.
And so the story goes into that. And of course, the Hulk gets loose again. And Iron Man beats him by putting all of his power into one punch. But it almost kills Iron Man. Then Ant-Man has to go into his armor, a la Hank Pym into the Vision and Avengers 93 type.
Yeah.
But it's like, but those stories had supporting cast, because there's a scene where Mrs. Arbogast goes into the drawing room, sees what she thinks is Tony, at the table, turns out to be Bruce Banner, and she freaks out. And Tony says, "No, he's my guest." And she goes, "Oh, well, then I guess I better put on more coffee. You never know when Galactus might drop by for brunch." And I was thinking, I go, if you're reading comics in those days, that is exactly what you would expected that character to say,
mm-hmm.
because those books took the time to build up the personalities of its supporting casts.
Yeah,
those are all gone now. And if there's no human supporting cast, there's no time to develop the alter egos personalities of the heroes, because every issue they are fighting galaxy universe extinction level events.
And that's been one problem. It's become white noise. I was kind of thinking of a video that I've been wanting to make for some time, and it was 6 things Marvel Comics doesn't want you to know about. Because I've seen videos like that, and I thought, oh, okay, yeah, what can I come up? Can I come up with 6 things Marvel Comics doesn't want you to know about? Yeah. The death of Doctor Strange. They don't want you to know about the dark, there's something, what is it? The dark zone going on or something like that. They didn't want you to know about Heroes Reborn. They don't want you to know about damn near every event that's happening. They do event after event after event after event, and it's come to the point where they've even stopped advertising it. It's so commonplace now, and it is it's like a constant it's an interruption of the heroes' lives. It's almost where you want to take them and you want them to separate again. You know what? For just a little bit, you want to really upset the Marvel Universe. Don't have every hero in the Marvel Universe. From here on in, just for a little bit, just to get an idea of who these characters are. Spider-Man only exists. Thor only exists. Heck, the Avengers only exist. I know that's a contradiction. In one planet, on one comic book series, only the Avengers exist. They don't have to team up with every other gosh darn hero, but tell us who these people are. I think that's very important right now, because they don't understand who these heroes are. There is no understanding from Tom Taylor who Superman is. There is no understanding of Vita Ayala, or the Marika Tamaki seems to be the same, where she'll take up comic book characters she just doesn't understand. Now, granted, I did like her take on Detective. So I'm not 100% hating on all of them. It's just that they show that they're more interested in putting themselves into the comics than they are of writing decent comics. And I think that's one of the worst things. They don't know who these comic book heroes are supposed to be. Or either that, or they say, we need to deconstruct them. We need to deconstruct them. And once again, we are now left with a blank slate as far as all of the characters are concerned.
part of that is, as we've talked about before, a lot of the newer group of writers grew up online in chat rooms, texting, tweeting instead of talking.
Yeah.
Now, that limits the way you can write conversationally. If you never had any, how can you write them? So it's hard for them to write different personalities because it's hard to convey a personality in 140 characters. You can't emote. So that puts them a little bit behind the 8 ball sometimes. And and so that limits what you can do with the character, and it just leaves the hero. Well, the heroes become one-dimensional, and they all tend to act the same way because, again, you don't have really what you know about writing. A lot of times is confined to the Alan Moore stories that you read and the X-Men cartoons. So, and I know I'm generalizing, but it does make it hard to give personalities to multiple characters, because I said the way the books are set up, there's no time for it anymore. But it might have gotten to that point because the writers that were doing it didn't have the chops to do that. Could some of these writers do a book? Well, I was throw Darkhawk out there. That was a book we mocked.
Yeah.
When it was out.
Yes.
But I would love to see a book like Darkhawk today.
Yeah, the crappy
mom,
books
the
of the 90s,
the brother, the family, the supporting cast. Nova, his friends from school. I mean, it was almost like, I know it was supposed to be a Spider-Man for the next generation, because even then they did that. I just happen to think they did it better. It was almost like if Archie Andrews were a sad sack, his group of friends, it was kind of that. I mean, it's a bit and I know. So when we lament the comics aren't the way they used to be, of course, it's because we're racist. Of course, no, it's because we don't get this stuff anymore.
Well, yeah, you don't get decent writing. That's the whole problem, and unfortunately, you said it. I think you said it best when we were talking about, I believe it was Donny Cates. You said Donny Cates isn't that great. Everybody around him sucks that bad. He's actually, if you plopped him down, say in the 80s and 90s, he wouldn't even register. And that may just be it. I would go so far as to put Brian Michael Bendis in there as well. I know we beat up on Brian Michael Bendis, but let me defend him here for a moment. He sucks really bad.
That's a good defense.
It's the best I could come up with. He's just horrible. But one of the things... You okay there, lady? Okay. Hey, can you cover up his cage and turn the light out on the way out? Because he's just being a dick right now. But yeah, Brian Michael Bendis is just incredibly bad. All he knows how to do is change a character. He cannot play in someone else's sandbox. One of the things that I like that has been, one of the things that I like that had been stated is that, hold on, she did turn off the light, but I forgot to turn on the other one. One of the things I like that Stan Lee talked about was the illusion of change. And of course, what he meant by that was that you could put these things out there, but at the end, you had to make sure that at least the status quo was still the same. You have to make sure that Spider-Man is still Spider-Man. Do all the change you want, but in the end, Spider-Man still has to be Spider-Man. I don't mind change. Just make sure that Spider-Man is still Spider-Man. Mm-hmm. He has to be the responsible character. He has to understand that, because if he doesn't, people die. That's what he's going on. Batman will not leave Gotham City because his parents died in Gotham City. Oh, he might take a vacation. He might go off planet. He might do stuff like that, but he will not move away from Gotham City. Gotham is his to protect, to the point where he will show up in other books. And this, you've got a freaking long ass history of this, where he'll show up in other books and say, you're not good enough to protect this city. You're not good enough to be here. If you're going to do this, you're going to do this by my damn rules. That's what Batman does. You want to fight crime in his city.
I am curious to see.
You got to go through him.
I'm curious to see how long he's going to be away from Gotham. Is this like a 4-issue story and we're just blowing out proportion, or is it a permanent thing?
I hope so, but I don't know.
Well, yeah, I said I'll go back to what I said. I think last night. I think if the powers that be at DC had their way, Bruce Wayne and Clark Kent would go away permanently, at least in the comics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it is interesting though. Bruce is leaving Gotham, and then Jace, the one they tried to replace Batman with, is going to New York, so he's not going to be Gotham either. So it's like, what? There's no Batman.
First of all, I would also like that to stop. We're going to do another one of these. We got to talk about legacy characters. We've got to talk about why is it that modern day legacy characters bad, past legacy characters good. There are some thoughts on that. I don't know if I want to do it as a video or a live stream, but it is something to talk about. I guess we could talk about it here if you guys want. But but I think this adds on to what I'm saying. They don't know how to write superhero stories. I even think that Jace Fox becoming Batman is just a show of it. That just shows me that modern comic book writers can't write. That's why you have to make the Falcon Captain America in order for them to get excited about the Falcon.
I would only say if like Jace Fox was a very far into the future character, kind of like a Batman Beyond, something like that, where like Bruce Wayne's been dead all these years and he's probably like a great grandson.
See, I would actually go along with that. I wonder if comic books shot themselves in the foot by not being like more like a soap opera. I used to actually think of comic books as soap operas for guys because they're overly dramatic. We kind of are obsessed with them, as I remember the ladies in my family. Our stories are on. You kids go outside and play. So I remember that, and I used to make fun of it until I realized, wait a second, I'm exactly like that with comics. Give me, my new issues are in. Got to get there. Got to read this. Ooh, wow. I'd pile them from the one I was interested in least to the one I was interested in the most. And go. So I would end on a high note, and it's just that I don't think that they have the ability anymore. I don't know. Let's see. Modern legacy characters are bad because they're shoehorned in to meet a census quota. They're not introduced organically and given more depth than a sheet of paper. Now, I agree with this. I think Moranya nailed it there. It's not based on a narrative. It's based on we just we want to see a person who is not a white male in that role.
Well, look at not only DC's doing this where they're trying to replace the main characters like Batman, Superman. Marvel is doing it now. Peter Parker has been removed. Ben Reilly's put in. It looks like Daredevil is going to be gone permanently, or at least it's not going to be Matt Murdock anymore. They got the Woman Without Fear coming out in January.
And that's also something that look, talking about classic legacy characters, I've got to go all the way back to Supergirl. I want to talk about Supergirl here because she's one of the earliest. Of course, we had Mary Marvel and so forth, so on. They didn't take the place of. Mary Marvel is her own character. Supergirl is her own character. So you did have legacy characters. You also had gender swap characters and so forth. She-Hulk was definitely different than the Hulk. In the beginning, not incredibly different, but eventually they said we want to get her her own personality. But what ended up happening, what seems to have happened anyway, is that instead of making a legacy character, and you see this if you talk to them, they just want to skip steps. Look, we've got this character, this black kid we want to bring in. I've got a name for him, but I just don't have a set of power. I've got a set of powers, but I don't have a book for him. You know what? I'm thinking I'm going to kill off Spider-Man. We're going to put Miles Morales. That's what I call him. We're going to put him as Spider-Man. Well, why not give him his own identity? Because Spider-Man sells.
Yep.
Yeah, but he's not. He'll never be Spider-Man because at this point in time, 50 years, Peter Parker's been Spider-Man. No, he'll be Spider-Man. We're 12 years in, by the way, ladies and gentlemen.
That was
And
Bendis.
it's Miles Morales.
Yeah.
You know, hold on just a sec. Thank you very much to Glenn, sir. Modern comic book writers took over a steakhouse and are now trying to force a vegan menu on longtime patrons. I like that analogy.
Someone pointed out something like that a while back, and I'd forgot about that. That because that's the best analogy I've heard.
Yeah,
but the other one is, the comic book industry took a hobby for boys and kicked the boys out.
Basically, yeah.
But the thing is, they're not even doing the things that the girls that were reading the comics when it was a boys' hobby liked.
Yeah.
So
but what's worse, as far as that's concerned, is they're telling girls what they like. Maranya glommed onto Iron Man as Iron Man. Do you know who Maranya didn't glom onto? Riri Williams. But now Maranya is all sorts of evil because she doesn't like Riri Williams.
Maranya, why don't you like Captain Marvel?
It's
the true Captain Marvel.
And it goes in. They do not believe that you are able to see somebody that doesn't look like you and be inspired. Let me get some of these as well. Miss So's agreeing her mom loved the soaps. Miles has more weight in animation now. I just see him in live action soon. Says Marshall Lewis. I can see that. I think the End of the Verse, probably one of the best Spider-Man movies. Definitely. Well, yeah, I'm not gonna say probably. It's definitely one of the best Spider-Man movies. Let's see. Modern legacy characters can work if they have the right writing. I've always said there are no bad characters. There's only bad writing. Let's see. Wally is fastest Flash in the West. I see what you did with that. Let's see. Again, current Marvel and DC comics are mouthpieces for the writer than the full story. Also, that they just kept restarting after each character, and removing or retconning story from before then continuing it. And that does, I think that's also something. You see it in the movies now with Halloween ignoring 30 years of continuity. And they'll do that, but with certain characters, they'll do that in the span of a year or two. Captain Marvel, didn't she have this whole life story thing that came up, and then they said, nobody liked it, so who cares?
Yeah, didn't she have some like giant cousin from Creeville or something also that? Yeah, for about 2 years ago, and then I'm thinking, I said nobody cares.
Yeah.
If a tree falls in the forest, did anybody read it or something like that? I'm not sure.
Well, a lot of trees fell in order to make those comics, and nobody read them. But we can't really blame modern day. I mean, they've been doing stuff like that forever. I always wanted Superman to go nuts on a really, really powerful villain, just because he was afraid of being killed again. When he was resurrected after Doomsday, I would have loved to see the repercussions of that by having Superman, like he's fighting and then he realizes he's about to lose, and then just PTSD steps in and he goes nuts a little bit. I would have liked to have seen something like that. So for a long time, we've seen writers forget about continuity, or they'll cherry pick little pieces. And I get it, because you don't want an entire character's continuity. We don't want the aliens from the planet Zorbak to show up in a Batman issue and go, hey, remember that one time that you helped our planet by giving everybody a Twinkie?
Speak for yourself.
I know, right?
I want Batman, Robin, and Superman to go to that professor that used to send them back in time in every other issue of World's Finest in the 50s.
Yeah.
I think that's what we're getting now.
All you have to do is show Joker eating a Hostess pie.
In all honesty,
he doesn't like him.
I know that's.
And in all honesty, let's just have a comic book series called Fruit Pies. That'll do it.
That's starring Tim and John.
Oh wait, you know what? Yeah,
too easy, low hanging fruit.
I heard it as soon as okay. In your opinions, worst retcon ever? Thank you very much for the super chat, Glenzer. Certainly appreciate it. Okay, so worst retcon ever.
Well, I know what mine is. But
go on ahead. We'll start with you.
Jeff Johns, Mark Waid, and Richard Donner systematically undoing every bit of John Byrne's Superman.
Yeah, especially considering John Byrne's Superman, and I'm going to say this, is the best Superman.
Agreed.
I absolutely believe that John Byrne's Superman is the best Superman.
And I agree with that.
It is just, actually, I do, because we made a 3-video series. It's right. It's here and on Old Man Comics, the top 10 Superman artists. It's actually about the top 15 or 20 of them. And we go through and we talk about every Superman artist. I love that series. It's one of the things I'm most proud of. So if you have not seen it, please do. Let's see. Worst retcon ever. Worst.
We're getting one more day a lot in the chat.
One more day. Is that a retcon? Because I thought it was the story.
That was correcting a great wrong done to a character years ago by marrying him off.
The retcon would be Nick Spencer undoing.
Yes, that's a retcon, and that's the leader in the clubhouse at Marvel. I mean, all jokes aside.
Here you go. Here's a retcon for you. The Phoenix is now Thor's mother.
See, but okay. If it happened in a Jason Aaron book 2 years ago, did it really?
Worst retcon ever. I've got a couple of them.
Anything in DC in the past 10 years?
In all honesty, the Wally West, the classic Wally West, not being the Wally West in New 52, kind of was one of those things where it put the nail into how the DC universe would treat. So yeah, I hated that. I hated it. I hated the race swap of Wally West.
I would say Tim Drake being made gay.
That's not bad either,
because he was never gay.
Basically, I think the identity swaps are bad. But let's see, worst retcon ever. That is. Going ahead.
No, they say Glenzer just said, was calling the Beyonder an Inhuman or retcon. That's one of the. That's to me. That's one of those. If a tree falls in the forest and no one hears,
wait,
I don't remember that. I mean,
the Beyonder was an Inhuman.
I think they trotted that out years later. And
Brain, check out Almighty Jack's comment.
The worst retcon, the reboot of America Chavez away from Gabby's perfect vision of our list.
Oh yeah, I absolutely agree with that. What am I?
You know what?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Nathan Childress. You nailed it. I'm gonna agree with this one, mainly because I'm like, have you ever had one of those moments where somebody asks you, what was that movie we saw, and you couldn't remember it, but then at night you wake up, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, I felt like that. Like you
do that?
Yeah. Oh, I always wake up like this. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, what's wrong with you?
I always look like Trump. Not
the jazz hands every single time. Hey, girl.
But yes, Brian Michael Bendis retconning. I don't know if it's a retcon. It's story too. That would work. That's
Spider-Man.
Brian Michael Bendis retcon Legion of Superheroes. So boom, I could say that one. Holy crap. Did you see the freaking Brian Michael Bendis Legion of Superheroes? Oh my Lord in heaven. I can't imagine if you had a 6 McRib after a freaking Thai soup spicy sandwich all wrapped up in freaking eggs. I can't imagine a worse diarrhea trip than the freaking Brian Michael Bendis Legion of Superheroes.
I gotta agree with Thunder.
It's like a big old onion sandwich for you, isn't he?
Bendis sucks.
First of all, hello to Nerdette, and also want to agree with her. John Kent being made by was not a retcon.
John being by, that's not a retcon.
No,
that's just part of the story. What I hate is John being aged up, so you miss out on watching
Tim Drake. Was a retcon because he was
Tim Drake,
and even the writer who created his best friend was his lover.
Yeah, his boyfriend was a retcon as well.
Yep.
So yeah, Tony Stark being adopted from Black Lotus, Lightning Lad being made black all of a sudden for no reason. The whole Legion, or we could just say identity.
All the milestone characters right now, aren't they all retcons?
I think the worst retcon is Eglantine Loves Comics having a gray hat and a blue shirt instead of a blue hat and an orange shirt. Yeah, I'll have to get that orange shirt back. Did I ever wear an orange shirt? I don't remember.
Breen changing the book behind him is the worst retcon ever.
I know, right? Where's our
Spider-Man?
That's a flaming carrot.
There it is.
We have the flaming carrot teaming up with Herbie the Fat Fury.
Why is he gonna be fat?
He just was, but he can still walk on air.
Maybe he was just large for his size. He wasn't fat.
But I realized, I should get this back in its prominent place.
Yeah, we miss it.
Miss it no longer. Right next to the toilet paper.
Right, it's rumored that Bendis is going to retcon her.
Yeah,
her and Riri Williams are best friends.
With the Marvel toilet paper.
What are some good retcons? Things that you're like, you know what? Well, Superman, they depowered him.
Good ones? Okay.
By John Byrne. I think the
whole John Byrne was.
Well, let's just go Crisis. Crisis on Infinite Earths. Everything that followed that, and I will stand by the statement. DC's best run was from Crisis up to the end of Flashpoint. Yeah, you'll not everything is perfect, but just DC just was.
Jeremy Adams retconning that Tom King BS, saying that Wally's responsible for killing everyone, but it wasn't him. It was actually Savitar breaking out of the Speed Force. And Wally put them back there and back in the Mark Waid run, I believe.
Okay. Aging up John Kent and keeping Damian Wayne the same age while trying to push a Super Sons book is the dumbest move I've ever seen DC try to do. Says Almighty Jack. You know what? Yeah, there you go. 10 ways DC is destroying their own comics. That's another video to do.
Ninja Turtles getting a female.
Do you think the writing in early Image comics are better than modern comics? No, I do not. I truly do not. I actually bought the Savage Dragon, and it was in one of those. It was called Comic Book Bento. Mm-hmm. And I got the first book of Savage Dragon. God bless whoever got in the auction. I hope you enjoy it more than I did. But that was one of the books I would praise as being really good in the beginning for Image Comics. And I reread it, and it was a bunch of suck. And so none of them. I don't know. I haven't read Shadowhawk in forever.
I guess it would depend on what you want to get out of a comic. They weren't. None of them were written well, and they made no bones about it. They did. That's not what they wanted. They didn't want anything to detract from the pretty art.
Yeah,
because I mean, it truly was. This was the style over substance era, and they were proven right because when they ended up getting real writers, the books no longer sold. And I realized the bloom was well off the rose by then, and the crash had occurred, but good writing couldn't save them at that point. I don't know if good writing would have added to the sales at the time because they were selling so well to begin with. Another
retcon was changing Loki.
Well,
making Loki go from a villain to now in Kate's run, he's pretty much a hero.
Well, that's more. That's a retcon caused by the Disney MCU. I know that I'm splitting hairs here.
Well, how do you know that you don't? Your knowledge of this book exists.
Well, okay, if they exist, and I'm not saying they do, but
you haven't proved to me that Marvel has made books.
No, that's from the first Avengers movie.
Yeah,
that was it for Loki being the Loki that I remembered from up to that point. 30-something years of reading the character because they had something there.
Okay,
and go ahead.
No, you finish your sentence.
No,
we got 5 more minutes. Keep going.
No, I said that's the good thing about interrupting me is if you do, I will forget where I was.
Okay, so we just got a question, Glenzer. he mentioned, when did retcons begin? What is the first retcon you remember? And if you do know when retcons began, because that would definitely have to by the way, a retcon isn't just a change in a comic book. It's something that you always knew about a character that had been changed. So they say, oh, it's no longer this way, it's now that way.
Well,
go ahead.
How did they introduce Barry Allen? Because Jay Garrick was always the Flash. I never read the first.
There was 5 years between,
but they didn't retcon because Jay Garrick was his own character, and so was Barry Allen.
But the name of the title, The Flash, did they even acknowledge Jay in the original Silver Age stuff?
He read comics. Yeah, Jay Garrick was in the comics that Barry.
I never read.
He was reading an issue of the Flash when the lightning struck in the lab.
Really?
I think so.
Now I want to say, I could be wrong, but I'm gonna go Shazam, because he went from the 1940s and then he was in the 1970s. Now the first book, however, I could be wrong about this, but I think the first book was very much done in the style of C.C. Beck.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
The whole series was.
Okay. So that means then the true retcon wasn't him coming out in the 1970s, but it would be his miniseries in the 1980s. 1987. Mm-hmm. Okay, wait, that miniseries was in 1987. That 4-issue
it was right after. Yeah, it was right after Crisis.
Because that's when actually Captain Marvel became a real DC character. Right? I mean, he was there, but he wasn't the character that we would know him as until that miniseries. So that was 1987. There has to be something. There has to be something before.
What about Thor when he drops his hammer? He's a minute and he changes back into Donald Blake. That was
when did they get rid of Donald Blake?
Oh wow!
And was that a retcon or was it narrative?
That was
I want to say that
Simonson took over.
He wasn't that much of a presence, but I think it was Simonson.
Yeah,
because they did the storyline where
and that would be early 80s, so it may be
so he couldn't turn into Blake because we found out that Blake was actually a construct created by Odin to teach his son humility. And so when there was no more need for that, he basically didn't change sizes, but he became Sigurd Jurlson.
Yeah.
You know what?
Thor in a pink shirt.
Nick Fury gives him the cheaters.
Here's the thing.
They always work for that other guy.
It is Crisis on Infinite Earths the first retcon? Where something isn't just done in narrative, because what you're describing there, it sounds like they did it narratively rather than from now on this isn't going to be that way, it's just this way. And I could see like the Silver Age doing that all over the place if they wanted to.
Trivia is asking about what about Rebirth is retcon. Well, New 52 they changed, they dropped that and they went back to being first Superman. The narrative they changed it back to being they brought back the original one.
Yeah, I don't know because the DCU kind of just blended right on into the Rebirth. Was that actually a retcon, or was it more of a writing everything out?
Is it a retcon if you have a series of events that cause it versus just the writers just phasing out something they don't like anymore? And just like the Superman retcon of Wade, Johns, and Donner, they just kind of systematically got rid of everything that Byrne had done and put it back to the Silver Age, with the exception of, and I said this a million times and I never missed an opportunity to say it, Lois Lane does not fall for that Clark Kent. They would have had to have undone that marriage and had Lois be with Superman publicly, because no way does that Clark Kent pull that off.
Why?
Because he was a sniveling, afraid of his shadow nerd. That was the character he was put back into. Lois would have never been attracted to him, because remember, assuming they even kept that, Clark made it a point to make her fall in love with him and not Superman. That was another thing Byrne and his bunch did that was better than what had been before. If you took all that away, but they were still married, how did it get to that point?
The first retcon is Lois Lane. Okay, Lois Lane. If you read her in the first issues of Superman, if you read about her in the first issues of Action Comics, Superman, what have you, she was more of the tough. They always kind of said she was like what's her name in His Girl Friday, very tough, very well written, very quick-witted. She was she was personally too strong, like you said, for the nerd that Clark Kent was. That's why she fell in love with Superman. However, here comes Wortham to everything up, and in one of the casualties of the seduction of innocents, or innocence, if you actually want to call it by its name, was Lois Lane. Because after that, she stopped being quick-witted, and she stopped being the strong female reporter that she was. And her entire purpose, her entire being, if you read the Superman's Girlfriend comic, was to find ways to get Superman to marry her. Mm-hmm. That may be the first retcon.
She went from being a villain to being a hero.
No, she went from being more of a fast talker bone, but yeah. Now I do like some issues of Superman's Girlfriend. I'm not gonna lie, it's one in particular, but
you got to remember, these were huge at the time.
Yeah,
and Lois Lane was more or less a romance comic. And she was in the other books, it was more about her. I mean, yes, she still wanted to marry Superman in Superman in Action Comics, but it was basically her own. The Superman's Girlfriend, Lois Lane, where most of those schemes were hatched.
Yeah.
So that, because like I said, that was, DC had a ton of those at that time.
Can you come up with anything earlier than that? I mean, I guess to Venkman's defense, until they brought in the JSA with the Justice League, Barry Allen, Hal Jordan were all retcons.
How about a re-retcon?
Okay.
When the Joker was first introduced, he was a homicidal maniac.
Oh.
After the code came in, he was a merry prankster. Batman 251 reestablished him as a homicidal maniac.
There you go. There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, comic book history. Is that something we're one of the only channels I know of that start off with a comic book sucks beginning, and we're still talking about the way that comic books are actually kind of cool. The way that it's.
Here's another thing. Mike Byrne introduced World Wide West was eating food. And he had to sleep in 19 hours. They're putting his energy from running around all the time. He had kind of his high metabolism. When Byrne came back, they dropped all that, and then now that Wally's back to being in Flash again. Wally he's basically coming home, and she's making him food for him. All his stacks of food for him again. So they're bringing that back again.
I wouldn't mind that. On some cases, I would like. I had this idea for a Superman story, and what it would be, because I was always wondering how can we fix the DC? Because if we're going to talk bad, we got to talk about how we would fix it. And yes, this is something I was thinking of for a video here. But the way I would fix Superman, I'll wait for the video. So what do you want to talk about?
Just reading Joe Rogers. They retcon Batman and Robin sleeping in the same bed.
Right.
Okay, Wayne Manor. I'm going to assume it has a decent amount of rooms and a decent amount of bedrooms. And I remember I was reading an old Batman story, and Bruce Wayne is like I said, getting ready to get into the bed with Robin. I mean, it's like one of those big beds, but it's like if you were at a hotel and there was just one king size bed.
Yeah.
Perfectly innocent. But as Batman's taking off his robe, they're talking about a case. He goes, "Yes, Dick, I have a feeling that something exciting is about to happen."
Yeah, that's one of those pages.
Oh my God, that old German had a point.
Maranya is saying that they retconned the Vision. He used to have the body of the original Human Torch.
Yes.
And let's see. Gwen Stacy is just story. That's not a rec. Oh, yeah, that's just story.
Yeah.
That wasn't a retcon. The original Human Torch becoming the body and the new Human Torch.
Trivia: how would I bring back Peter Parker and Mary Jane marriage? I would just delete all the history, ignore it, and just be like, have Peter wake up and like, oh my gosh,
that's
that was
very
the worst.
close.
No,
yeah,
no, I can answer that in 2 words: fire Casada.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that too.
Until that happens, it doesn't matter what the rest of them are.
He ain't leave until he's dead. I don't think they're ever gonna fire him.
One thing I can say, and
Kit Kane.
I'll continue about all of this though, is I will no longer wish they bring back characters. Let me move over here.
Power Girl.
I used to be someone who would say, oh man, they should bring back the JSA. I used to say they should bring back the Legion. Be careful what you wish for, kids. You might just get it in the form of a Brian Michael Bendis comic book drawn by Riley Rosmo.
Yeah, I said I've resigned myself to the back issue bins of comic history. I mean, honestly, not a bad place to be.
Yeah,
I agree.
Night Wolf, there was a retcon that was Spencer did. We talked about a little bit. We touched a little bit on it earlier.
That was a retcon of a retcon.
Yep.
For those of you who might not know, if you're not around on Friday, we do readings of classic comic books. And what I mean is, like, if we do a Superman book, maybe Eric takes narrator, I'll take the Superman role, Venkman will be Lois Lane, somebody else will be the side characters.
I mean, someone's gotta be in charge.
We read it as the as if it were a play. Wow, I am in focus right now. I look like this. We look at we read it as if it were a play, so it's a lot of fun. But one thing we're trying to do is kind of get people into the back issues a bit more. And to remind them the back issues don't start in 2013. There's a lot of good stuff out there. There's a lot of fun stuff like there out there, and it's good to talk about. It is. I don't know. As far as all this is concerned, I honestly do not believe that modern comic writers know about superheroes. They've decided that they themselves are the heroes. It's like they don't want to write comic books anymore. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know. As an old fan, I want the comic books where you have a clear villain, a clear hero, and go.
Like I said, the people that bring in have never read comic book. They may have seen one or two of the superhero movies if they're even lucky, and they bring them in and they hire them to write a specific agenda.
When the comic book industry started going to the writers, and I'm making finger quotes, as opposed to writers trying to get into comics, that's a recipe for disaster.
Why can't the companies fire these nut jobs? Well, they can. They just won't. They can't fire Vita Ayala. They can't fire Vita Ayala. They cannot fire Mark Russell. They can't fire. But you know what? Sanaa Grace proved that they can. Sanaa Grace is the writer on the Gay Iceman book. He was a homosexual. Everybody thought that him being a homosexual would mean that he would write a good story because he's got lived experience. Remember, that's the whole thing. Anytime you have the debate about should someone, should like a white guy write a black character, of course he can. But they don't have the lived experience. But by saying that, the opposite, of course, is that you are saying that a black person can't write a white character, that a woman can't write a man. Obviously, the whole thing is that I guess it's the oppressor oppressed thing again.
Yeah, the rules only go one way in comics.
But
anybody else can write anybody. They're allowed to. It's just that straight white men can only write straight white men.
Right. And that's why when Iceman came out, Sanaa Grace, the gay guy, wrote the worst homosexual stereotype. When John Ridley writes the other DC history, he writes the worst black stereotypes. I'm sorry, gang, you need talent. And unfortunately, talent is rare these days.
The first word that these SJWs should learn is fiction, not fan fiction.
Yeah,
fiction, because they want a world where you can only write yourself so you can see yourself. Hell, why not just give all these people a mirror and send them off to the corner? Because it seems like that's all they really want. They said, if you can write, you can write.
I'll always point out to it. He wasn't my favorite hero, but he's one of them. And one of the heroes I loved was Luke Cage. When I was a kid, I loved Power Man. Absolutely. He didn't exactly live the same life as my country ass on a freaking dirt road, having fun running around in the woods with a BB gun. So maybe we could shoot squirrel and then watch them hobble off to their death. We never ate them or anything like that. It wasn't a hunting thing. It was just, like to murder small animals.
The best retcon they did to Power Man is that they put a white guy in there. There you go, Zach.
Yeah, I think I told this story. I took my daughter. We were at the comic shop, and I was looking at the statues. I took my daughter. I was like, okay, look at these two. And they had a Luke Cage statue. He was in a little beanie cap, wife beater. I think it was brown, and like white pants. And I said, who is that? And she, I don't know. I said, okay, who's that? She knew, Power Man. Exactly. This is a black guy you could find on any corner of any street, definitely under a couple of bridges. I know. And then this is obvious. The Power Man outfit, the yellow, the black pants, the chain around his waist, the tiara, everything about him is badass. It's just they think, okay, no, we're making him better. No, you're not. I'm sorry. I'm going to go. You want to talk about it's not a retcon. It's just change a costume. Getting Luke Cage out of any costume, granted that 90s costume needed to go. I think it was a horrible idea. Oh, no.
My best friend that I got into comics for about 2 months, and then he went back to picking on me for being into comics because he was Eddie Haskell long before I appropriated that for this for the auctions. He couldn't. I don't think he could name the 4 Beatles. He's been that insulated from pop culture. But he, if you ask him to name comic book characters, I don't know that he gets Spider-Man, but he remembered The Thing and Power Man because those were the two that he actually liked for those 2 months.
Frankly, the Beatles were better when they had James Best.
The Beatles were better before they started doing drugs.
They were never the same after Stu Sutcliffe left.
Well, now you're just getting serious. I was joking.
yeah, I am.
And
what do you think, though? Do you agree with Venkman that they got worse in the later years?
No.
I disagree as well. Now, granted, I like the original albums. I like the songs. They were poppy and they were fun, but a lot of their best stuff is the later years.
And half of them were covers. I mean, when they started it wasn't just the drugs, it was the mysticism. They just embraced the whole 60s hippie culture,
the Dalai Lama,
and they really did come up with some phenomenal stuff. I mean,
the Walrus. Sorry, I cannot get into that.
Yeah.
Wait a second. What's his name? James Best? Because Joe Rogers pointing out
Pete Best.
James Best was
the guy from Dukes of Hazzard.
He was
a really cool Twilight
Train. I just he pointed that out. Wait, what?
And when they had Sorrel Brooks on drums.
Yeah, that's why every Beatles song is.
There's a reason why when we said
coo.
We said, the Germans, forget it, he's rolling.
Jeez.
Oh, whatever happened to your fifth member? Oh, I don't know. We were in Georgia and we lost him. Last I know, he was still part of law enforcement.
Yeah, I said,
Oh my gosh! Now I want Beatles doing the Dukes of Hazzard.
Yeah. Oh, here comes Boss Hogg. What do you think? Oh, and that bastard James Best still trying to get a part of our royalties. Fuck you, John. I'm telling you, all we gotta sing is a nice song to him. You're saying this all the time there, Paul, but no, nobody wants silly love songs. Oh, that's a good idea for a song, John. I think I'll write it. Just don't bring it to the Beatles, you bastard.
Oh, that was another weird movie too with Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. That was a weird movie.
Right. And, oh shit! I just showed I can do.
Yoko Ono singing makes my ears bleed, says Nerdy.
I actually I like.
Was it singing or just screaming? I can't remember.
Sergeant Pepper Lonely Hearts Club's band. Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band is a horribly good movie. That is that's one of my so bad I can watch it. It is just bonkers bad. You know what? We should name her Strawberry Fields so we can then have him sing Strawberry Fields to her. You do know that was about people dying in war, right? Oh no, it sounds like a good love song. Let's put that there.
Strawberry Fields Forever.
We got Steve Martin. We need a happy-go-lucky song for him to sing. Maxwell's Hammer. That'll be fine. Wait, what's that about again? Serial killer?
Retcons. No one knows. We don't let's tell them about it.
Bang, bang, Maxwell's silver hammer came down upon his head. I mean, it's in the freaking song.
Bang, bang, Maxwell's silver hammer made sure that she was dead.
MJF?
The Beatles have some dark
J. Freeman.
songs.
Well, yeah, I believe there was a little movie about a certain serial killer of a few years later that got its inspiration from a Beatles song. I believe the first word was Helter.
I like what was it? Dennis Miller did a joke. He goes, "Yeah, they interviewed." Oh goodness, I can't even remember his name. They interviewed Manson, and he was like, with these new CDs, the sound's so clear. I guess they weren't talking to me. Goodness. The Beatles were retconned after Epstein died, says Jackson Raykirk. The Walrus song was to screw with the writer.
Brian Epstein didn't kill himself.
Right. It was breaking. Yeah. The way I heard that Evil Black Cat was that school teachers were teaching Beatles songs. And so they decided to write I Am the Walrus. So parse this.
Oh, and there were people telling the Beatles what that meant.
What the Walrus meant?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I said they just got so caught up in it.
I am her and he is me and she is when we are all together.
Cuckoo, cuckoo.
And apparently it actually meant nothing.
Yeah, nothing.
But
see how they run like pigs from a gun. See how they fly. Okay, so that is talking about the riots. The riots, like in Watts and such, and they were running because pigs, being officers, holding the guns. But no, dumbass, the pigs come flying from the guns. It's not the cops themselves.
Holy crap! We start talking about the Beatles, and we get more viewers.
There you go. What the fuck they're saying about us?
His horrible accent is just drawing people in.
I need to know about this. I need to know what they're saying about us. Maybe somebody's figured out that I killed John. Yes, that's my
Yoko.
theory. Yoko killed damn near everybody, but it wasn't John.
John
he was the bread and butter, baby. She's not gonna kill that fatty.
John Epstein didn't kill himself.
Thor and Donald Blake were separated after the death of Thor in Fear Itself.
That was the second time.
Oh, the second
or third time. It's they did end up bringing him back, but I guess like anything else, They brought Thor's alter ego for a while was that ambulance driver, Jake Olsen.
Was that Thunderstrike?
No, that was
Eric Masterson.
Yeah.
Wasn't it?
Yeah.
No, Jake Olsen was a guy that was accidentally killed in a battle Thor was in. And he apparently he had like a young son or something. And so through the magic of Odin's enchantment, Jake Olsen became Thor's alter ego for a while. I think it was right after Hero's Return. I think might have been Dan Jurgens writing that. I can't remember, but
yeah, somebody.
It was actually good.
Yeah, somebody mentioned earlier. I don't know if you saw. They mentioned about that Tony Stark being adopted as Bendis. There's a lot of bad stuff. It's harder for me. It's harder for me to think of the good retcons.
Well, see, the problem is, I said, and again, I mean, I'm not adding to my running joke that Marvel ceased to exist in 2013. If the longer this goes, the harder it is to find anything resembling an original idea. So you get some really bad ones, like Tony Stark being adopted, like Galactus being someone's herald. So
that was just freaking stupid.
Yeah, I just
yeah, I agree with that.
I mean, if I put some thought into it, I could probably come up with something for just about any character that just makes no sense, because I said they're out of they're some of these characters. It's possible that they kind of have run their course as far as original ideas go.
Get rid of course the Galactus thing, because you just brought it up. Worst idea for a great character. Not necessarily worst storyline. We're not looking for that. We're looking for, this was a horrible character change, not retcon, but could have been anything. But finding out that Galactus was a herald, absolutely horrible. And you can tell how that happened, because somebody was like, well, if Galactus has a herald, who's the herald that Galactus is? Yeah, Donny Cates, you're a dumbass on this one. Sit down. Sit
Yeah.
down.
Well,
No, not there. Not near Johnny and the Thing. You're at the kids' table, boy.
Well, Galactus isn't a herald anymore. He quickly retconned it by killing him.
Yeah, I know, right?
It's a retcon of a retcon.
How about yeah? Anyway, what were you gonna say, Eric?
No, say does where does Ms. Marvel becoming Captain Marvel fit into this?
Well, yeah, that was in 2012.
Okay. No, I know when it happened. So, is that a retcon? Is that just a
no? It's not a retcon because it doesn't change her past. That didn't change.
Well, they did end up going back and changing all of her past.
Eventually, they did.
They erased the two sons, the daughter and the son.
So you think changing her to Captain Marvel was a horrible character idea for her?
Oh, without question.
Yeah. Well, I think in the New 52, trying to write Superman like a giant asshole that believes 1930s politics is the way to go, which is what Grant Morrison said he was doing. Well, he was fighting union busters and he was fighting this. Well, once again, though, if you think unions are doing good, then yes, you're going to think that's a good thing or a bad thing. Ultimately, a Superman who rushes into somebody's house, rips open a safe and goes, here's the evidence. Boom. I don't like that. I don't need my Superman. And this is something I think John Byrne even got wrong. I don't need my Superman to have killed to not know that it was wrong to kill. Superman is the character who does right all the time. That's his ultimate superpower. I don't like the New 52 idea.
There is a difference between being forced to do something completely against character and then agonizing about it versus this is who I am, deal with it.
Okay.
That's why I give whether it was Byrne or Stern or Wolfman, whoever did that, versus just the casual. Because one thing about DC, even in those great years we talk about, they have been way more cavalier about killing whether it's individual or on a mass scale, than Marvel ever dreamt of being. I mean, you know, like I said, when DC had a character that literally blew up an entire country. The Cyborg Superman wiped out an entire city of 7 million. And I'm sorry, I don't care. You know, we can argue all day long whether or not Batman should have ever killed the Joker. Yes, he should have.
No, he shouldn't have.
Go away. But no way to
man up and state your case, mother.
I've done that many a times. You didn't listen then. You're not going to listen now.
What?
At some point,
I didn't say anything, RDV.
At some point, if you keep letting somebody go, and depending on a justice system that's just going to let him out again somehow,
it's not Batman's. It's not Batman's responsibility. It is the question isn't why does Batman kill? It's the question is why does the justice system not kill? That why they do have the death
sometimes
penalty.
Okay, he's a vigilante. At some point, he's going to say, "I've got to do this for them because if I don't, that guy next to me might be the next guy he kills." That crowd of people.
He has even committed crimes out of state, and other states haven't pulled him in and done the deal. This isn't on Batman. This is on. This is on.
But anyway, that's neither here nor there.
Well, Batman killed an abominable snowman.
You blow up a country.
He let him off the cliff.
You wipe out a city. Someone's going to end you.
Yeah.
So DC's always been way more cavalier about that than Marvel. And obviously we make jokes about the Batman Joker thing, but I mean, I always thought that somebody should have taken the Joker out because you can always just create another Joker.
We forgot about that retcon. Batman used to carry a gun.
Yeah, that was more like a character change as the character evolved.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I forgot why I was even talking about Cavalier and murder, blah blah blah.
You like the Cavaliers?
Oh, shut up, Penguin.
There's nothing to do with this.
There's a sports ball reference for those going on.
Yes,
DC killing Ted Kord in Countdown to Infinite Crisis was a bitter pill to swallow.
Yeah, but that was a very effective storytelling tool. I didn't like it.
No, me
because
neither.
I mean, being such a huge fan of the Bwahaha Justice League, I hated what they did with Maxwell Lord. But the next couple of years of DC were just riveting reading as a result.
You know what though? I was starting to say this. This is the point I was going to make with the soap operas. Thank you for bringing it back around. I think they kind of kicked themselves in the foot by not having continuity like that, like not letting characters age, like having Phoenix come back from the dead. Phoenix coming back from the dead ruined the character anyway. But point being is if they kill someone, let them stay dead. You know, if you let's have some real stakes here to the comics. I think comic books. You mentioned maybe we have characters that every story has been told from now. I don't know if that would actually weaken it because there's stories that you and I have read 40, 50, 60 years ago that even we forgot. They could update. They could go through and so forth and so on. There's so many stories to be told with these characters. But I think, though, since we are conditioned to have these characters coming back and we're conditioned to having basically no real stakes to comic books, I think that Marvel and DC comic book in general have kicked themselves in the foot. I've heard manga isn't as bad for that. So if somebody dies in book 1, they're more than likely going to be dead in book 100 and not retcon. But
because I don't think any of these mangas are as good as those stories are. I don't think you get attached to the characters over the course of I don't know if there's any manga characters that have been around for 80 years like Superman.
Yeah.
Now, I lost train of thought again. It'll come back. It'll circle back in a second.
This is why we only do our streams, guys.
Well, it would be our streams if we could remember our points.
Yeah. Let's see. It would make room for other characters at last. It says Paul de Reason. But yeah, and I think we would also accept legacy characters a lot more.
It came back.
Okay.
one of the things that we suffer from is we've been here too long. Yeah, a lot of people say that the comic book industry turns over its readership about every 3 years. So for a lot of people, it is new. Whereas you or I said, "Oh, we've seen this and we've seen it better." Mm-hmm. Case in point, I said my favorite storyline of all time is the Korvac saga in the Avengers. Korvac dies at the end of that story.
Yeah,
I think some watered down garbage tier version of him is in the Iron Man Cantwell run as we speak.
Yeah.
In a perfect world, that character would have never been used again after that, because how do you improve on that?
Yeah, like it's and that might actually be the answer there. That character's story was well told and it ended. So why bring him back to tell something inferior?
Craven's last hunt.
I know, right? No reason for Kraven to ever show back up. Kraven's last hunt put a final stamp on that character that, in my opinion, still holds today. I love the story, and I don't need Kraven. The last thing I saw was Kraven's, I think they call it Kraven's Last Hunt or something like that. It wasn't a bad story. There was actually merit to it, but they had another, "Oh, my sons, I'm going to end my life and you're going to take over" kind of thing. Like, dude, you ended your life 30 freaking years ago and it was perfect. It wasn't near perfect. It was one of the few stories you could say it's perfect. And they kind of screwed that up. Let's see. I don't know what they're talking about here.
They're naming characters that have been around forever.
Oh, yeah. We were asked, what is a return that really ground your gears? I've got one right off the top, and that's Jason Todd. And I didn't like the way they brought him back. I don't like the fact that Batman doesn't have him in Arkham, or he's not a recurring villain. Man shows up with a duffel bag full of heads that he cut off. There's no, for Batman, there's no going back for that. For Batman, that is a you are in prison kind of crime. He cut the heads off of crime bosses to prove that he is now the crime boss of Gotham. That's Red Hood, guys. So Jason Todd, I think, is one that should never have been brought back.
Well, remember when they undid Jean Grey's death? Saying that the Phoenix impersonated her.
Yeah,
but that was very cleverly done, and at least it made the 5 original X-Men alive again. And then, of course, they kill her off again years later. But
yeah,
at least that story made sense in a comic book universe. So I give Byrne and whoever Claremont, I guess, credit for coming up with that. It actually was plausible. There's ones I said. So have you ever enjoyed a Jason Todd story, or have you ever read a Red Hood and liked it, or
a Jason Todd story? Yeah, I've read
Okay, so at least they've. So I guess if you just kind of grudgingly come to accept it then over the years.
Well, he's there, and
right.
Obviously you're going to get good stories, you can get bad stories, but the thing is I didn't like the fact that they brought Jason Todd back. So, and I don't like the fact, like in 3 Jokers, is that in continuity or out of continuity? Because he shot a man in the head. Once again, he's in prison.
Yeah, who knows?
This is not something where Batman goes, not this time. We're not getting, you murdered a man. Yeah, he was a bad guy, but and I've spent my entire life not killing, but we're gonna let you get away with it. No, I'm sorry.
You think that's bad? Titans, he blew up Hawk. Put a bomb in his chest, blew him up. At the end,
spoiler freaking alert.
We're gonna watch Titans.
I am.
You said it. You said you hated that show.
Not now. He's not
that guy. I did not say I hated the show. I never said I hated the show. Never. Thank you very freaking much. Holy crap, dude.
You're gonna forget it in a week anyway.
What are we talking about?
See?
Yeah.
Okay.
Dude, that was pissy of you, man. I can't believe you did that. I watched Titans.
At least you know rest assured, I will never spoil any of those for
I
you.
don't watch Batwoman. That's the one
Mainly
I
because
don't
I'll
watch.
never watch any of these, but that's
Yeah, I
beside the
know.
point. Now,
Oh my gosh!
returns that you were asked about returns that that we may not have liked. There's some that I really hated at first, but have grown to accept and actually like.
Mm-hmm.
And one, first and foremost, I guess, would be Bucky.
Bucky with the Winter Soldier.
I would have never thought they would have come up with a way to do that, because I said for years that was never on the table. And I'm sure that people with Brubaker level talent probably had ideas that were shot down. So why this one got to get through when nothing else before it did, I don't know. But that's one that I said, I mean, I hated that idea, and then read the story and said, yeah, I'm cool with it.
What thing we were talking about something else, and we were talking about I think characters that have had no big story, and you brought up Bucky, and it occurred to us then that Bucky his return was the only story he ever had.
I don't remember saying that he hadn't had a big story, because that was a big story, but
no, yeah, but that was it. After his return, he had no big story, so he really only had that one thing.
And what about Donna Troy? What is her biggest claim to fame? Other than marrying a creepy old guy named Terry, and then what? She took over for Wonder Woman in New 52?
We don't really let him talk a lot, ladies and gentlemen. Occasionally he'll say something. He'll remind us why, but there you go. All right.
No, seriously, what has Donna Troy done other than just being Wonder Woman 2.0?
They haven't done much with her in recent days at all. But now that you mention it, actually, even in the days of the new Teen Titans, she really was kind of a background player, wasn't she?
Well, it was almost like an annual event, the Who Is Donna Troy.
Yeah, after what was it, 50, 51, and 52 or something like that, or 48, 40. I know it was a 3-issue story.
They've done it a couple times, and because they would always change and tweak her origin depending on what crisis had happened here or there. But then again, you can say that about just about any character.
Well, Nerdy Texan put it properly. Donna Troy is famous for being retconned.
Yeah, there you go. I just remember her big story was that she was she got married to that guy, and then he became abusive or whatever, or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Her being resurrected was the catalyst, I think, for Infinite Crisis, or one of the main ones.
Yeah,
because she was killed at the end of the Titans series,
Graduation Day.
Yeah, and then brought back in the Return of Donna Troy a couple years later.
Yeah.
But she took over. Remember who wrote that? Was that Gail Simone that wrote that? When Diana decided no, she don't want to be Wonder Woman anymore. So and Cersei took away her powers, but Donna Troy stepped in being the Wonder Woman.
Yeah, I
think that was New 52.
I didn't remember.
But I started reading that. I think it was like it hadn't been around somewhere in their mid 2000s, and I started reading. And I was like, the art was good, but it was just like DC today. It was horrible.
Power Girl retcons versus Donna Troy retcons.
Well,
she's a Kryptonian. No, she isn't. Yes, she is. No, she isn't. Yes, she is. No.
Yeah. Yeah, that was Crisis that changed her. Power Girl.
Right. Okay, so what else? Oh, I just looked over. By the way, this is going to be in the auction this week, kids, because I know you want it.
That's supposedly a good series, the first one.
Uh-huh.
It was after that she became
somebody who bursts into a mayor's office and declares that
it's apparently the first series had some chops, but then after that they realized, oh, wait a second, all these diversity characters, we really can't give them personality. They just have to be kind of good at everything and no real conflict unless you're carrying out the orders of a fascist putting kids in jail. But other than that,
right. I don't know. Look, we started talking about how Marvel, not just Marvel, but comic book writers in general these days seem to not know how to write or don't understand superheroes. And by that, of course, I don't think, to sum that up, I don't think they understand what a hero is. And I could see that. I could actually see that, especially if they hang around on Twitter all day. And by the dialogue, you're right, it does seem like they only hang around on Twitter, because things that are called a hero these days aren't exactly heroic. You know, they're called, or it's somebody who is, yeah, they did good, but would you actually really call that a hero? You know, I don't.
When you have,
It's been diluted. Basically.
When you have actors that played one of your beloved Marvel characters, giving pet names to one of the people in,
I know
that,
JoJo.
Yeah,
are you freaking
kidding me? You have to be a special kind of warped, but it kind of makes you understand now why some people believe what they do, because the difference between right and wrong has become so skewed in some people's minds that they don't know the difference anymore.
And maybe that's it. We had a clear idea of what was good and bad, what was evil and good, and so forth. So when we knew what an anti-hero was, to bring up Nerdy Texan, talking about, would you call the Punisher a hero? He was known as an anti-hero because he wasn't pure heroic. He did bad things in the name of good. I don't know. I don't think they understand what it means. I don't think they understand the self-sacrifice bit. I think but I think more than that is it's the idea that you must come to me and agree with me rather than me going to you or reaching out to you. It's a horrible. So I feel sorry for them. They seem miserable, but I don't know.
Here's one of the worst retcons they did. No, it's a Hawkeye and Mockingbird. When she said Phantom raped her, she lied. She actually cheated on Clint with Phantom.
Oh yeah, because they decided that it was more empowering for a woman to cheat on her husband than to go through the trauma of being raped.
And who was it that did that?
Chelsea Kane wrote that.
Chelsea Kane. Yeah.
Well,
this is the era of it is okay for my girlfriend or my wife to have a boyfriend, right? No, it isn't. No. Sorry, it is not okay.
No, the people we're talking about, a lot of these writers, their definition of a hero is anyone who aligns with them politically.
Yeah.
Regardless of what else you may or may not have done. And that's kind of how we get where we keep getting.
Yeah. All righty, gang. Well, you know what? We're going to wrap this thing up. I enjoyed the conversation. I do. If you are watching this afterwards, congratulations for making it this far. Is according to the analytics, the worst retcon was the retconning of Power Girl's bust. Yeah, but they brought that back too. And they would. Let's see. It's a weird week because of the holiday. I know a lot of people are kind of scattering to the wind. So I think we're going to rely on more live streams like this, where we're going to pop on, we're going to talk about something rather than our more structured live streams, just because we don't know who's able to participate and so forth and so on. You got a look on your face there, Eric. You all right?
No, I was yawning.
You're yawning.
I was like trying to stifle a yawn.
I do this bit. When I'm not, the same
thing. Look, more chins. Awesome.
Yes. So yeah, we're gonna be more topical this week, kind of like we used to, rather than the structured live streams. We do need players. We do need players for Jeopardy, however, on Sundays, because we didn't have enough players here. And I really do want to do a tournament where right now we've got 6. We got Maranya, we've got Nerdy Texan, we got Yellow Spider, and we have, oh my gosh, I'm running out of memory.
Nerdy Texan.
I said that. Yeah. I counted 6 earlier when I had my, brain. If not, I'm thinking that might actually, I want to do something. I want to try to figure out something to make a few extra bucks, because Papa is tired of sleeping on an air mattress. And I'm trying to figure out, and I thought about doing a drunk Jeopardy. And I thought if we do a tournament, it could be a like a 1 or 2 show thing where I would have to take a drink anytime I didn't get a question right, or through your super chats. And it's a boss level. So yeah, that's better. Every question they get right or super chats, and by the end of the night they have to go up against me. I like that.
I would say every time we get a question wrong on Jeopardy, the host has to take a shot.
Well, no. You guys are horrible. But yeah, I'll figure out something like that. Can't do Jeopardy
every time they get one right. That way you can drive home.
Oh, by the way, no, you guys wouldn't be. It would be me. See, the whole point is if they super chat me into drunkenness at the end of the night, who the 2 with the highest score will have to face me, and it depends on how many super chats we get as to how drunk the boss level is going to be. So there you go. All righty, kids. Thanks for hanging out with us. I hope you enjoyed the chat. Leave a comment after this is posted to help the algorithms. We definitely need it. And as always, but please buy some good booze and not the trash you had last time. That is the plan on Dead Quinn. No more gas station Fireball. That is not that stuff.
Yeah, get the Walmart Fireball.
I'll get something. Well, if it's around Christmas time, they actually have that eggnog with stuff in it. It doesn't take much for me to get drunk.
Eat food beforehand. Do not eat sweets.
Yeah,
preferably not purchased at that same gas station.
I'll take the $5 Fireball and the oysters right there.
I can see at the gas station. He's like, I'll pick a couple of rollers.
5 gallons of gas.
The rollers. That's his grandma.
Yeah. What's up, Ash?
I don't do
it. Wait, hold on just a second, guys. What?
You unmuted yourself.
Okay, hold on. You hear? You see, I've got headphones on. You have to speak up. You want to use my card?
No, Elizabeth said that she was going to let me use her card, but like I want to make sure that it's not. I don't accidentally use your card, so I want to see what the last numbers are.
You want to see my credit card, so the numbers are right.
No,
hold it up on the screen so we can see it.
I don't want to accidentally pick yours.
Okay, here's my credit card number.
I don't want.
No,
stop, because I don't want to.
This is mine. You've got hers. What are you getting?
I was just getting Taco Bell.
Yeah, you're going to Taco Bell for delivery? What do you mean? Shut up! You're going to. Everybody here has had Taco Bell. Everybody here has had diarrhea from their Taco Bell.
I've never got that.
You should get a Taco Bell. We went to Taco Bell once. Once.
That's it.
Oh, okay. I was actually
read it out loud.
Yeah, no, that's
I
wasn't gonna read it out loud. Yeah, don't worry about it. Yeah, you got her card then.
Oh, Magic, let me verify the 3 digits on the back.
I don't want to pick yours because you have less. Because you're always broke.
Yeah, I'm always broke because you guys actually make more money than I do.
Yeah, that's all I was trying to do.
No worries. Yeah, it's all's good.
You're trying to remind me that I'm broke? Thank you very much.
There was no problem here. There was absolutely none. But it did make for a good joke because now people are asking me to read my number out loud. You guys wouldn't get any money out of me. You see me begging every freaking week. You think you're gonna get money out of me? I'll tell you what. Send me some super chats. You'll be able to rob me.
Is that before or after you put that money into that account?
Right. I make money from you guys sending me money, so that's the way it works. Or sometimes they'll actually pay me through AdSense. Oh my gosh, yeah, I should be getting an AdSense this month. Yay! Oi, since they
I'd rather have taco over Qdoba any day.
I haven't been to Qdoba. It's 11 o'clock, so everything here is closed down except for McDonald's and the gas station.
Everything here closes at
those oysters.
a lot of places here are closed at 7 or 8 o'clock because of COVID. So
that's my daughter, Almighty Jack. That was in here. Taco Bell is the only fast food restaurant to survive the franchise wars. Yeah, everything's Taco Bell now.
I went to Penn Station the other day, and they were closing at 8 o'clock because they can't get enough people to work.
That's it. That's what I mean. Like COVID, yeah.
It's not. Well, it's not COVID. It's just.
It's
lazy.
There's people who are lazy, and there's also still people who do not want to go out in public. I still see people wearing masks here. They're not required, but people are wearing masks.
You know, Disney pulled their mask and their vaccine thing and all that kind of stuff, and I have a feeling they're going to do that anyway.
MK, you guys another $2 so you can fix your typo.
MK says, I dare you to do the goodies belly dance. I don't even know what that is.
The truffle shuffle. You think
the truffle shuffle? It's going to cost a lot more than $2, dude. But thank you for the super chat.
How much can I pay you not to do that?
I don't have a lot of dignity left, but what I do have caused a little.
What is Breen's credit card number so I can pay you not to do that?
Almighty Jack says my daughter's got Gail's laugh
in there to make it worth him not doing it.
Goonies. Yeah, there'll be a lot of shaking. This is something that if I start it, it ain't gonna stop for about half an hour. Even when I sit down, it'll still be flopping and wobbling.
I don't got any money, but I got 2 bullets.
Which you're gonna need if I start doing anything.
One for me, one for Breen.
You're going to want to either take out both eyes or you're going to want to do 2 shots just to make sure it sticks.
Target.
Like I said, it was one for me, one for Breen. So we're going on like the elites.
My company is offering 500 signing bonuses because they can't find anyone, says Joe Rogers. It amazes me. The bullshit that's going on with that. I don't know. Maybe that's we need a good conservative president to go get the back to work. Yeah, I ain't giving you money.
Everyone's hiring $15 an hour for the restaurants. I'm thinking, so pretty much just paying $10 an hour because of inflation.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Yay, we're finally making $10 an hour. Yeah, $15 an hour, but milk costs $7.
I'm giving up milk and all the essentials.
You shouldn't be reading milk. You shouldn't be drinking milk. It's racist.
Hey, McKids, remember the dollar menu? It doesn't exist anymore, but
Nerdy says, I thought you lost all your dignity under the bridge. No, I was good at that job. I'm very proud of my work. Thank you very much.
I was just thinking to myself the other day, does the McDouble even exist anymore?
The McDouble?
Yeah. Does it still? Okay, out.
It's more expensive than you remember.
I would never order it.
It's $4. It's the size. It's the price of a Big Mac now.
Yeah. Oh goodness, yeah, that's right. The Steak and Shake is even closed because they can't find. They'll close. They don't stay open all night anymore. Steak and Shake used to be a good 24-hour a day, get a decent burger kind of place.
Can you imagine if gas stations start closing early now?
Yes, actually, I can.
I do.
I don't live in Orlando. I live in a small town outside of Orlando. It's called Gotha, and it's one of those things that the sign says you are now entering and leaving Gotha. So.
Is Gotha short for anything?
Not that I know of. The Gozerian, I guess. I don't know.
They lost.
You said Gotha, right?
Gotha.
Oh, Gotha.
They lost.
No, not Gotha. Yeah, no.
They lost. Yeah, they lost the M.
Gotha. It's G. Yeah, it's like Gotham that just didn't have the
sign up. I
like my way better.
Yeah,
and more potential.
Yeah. Sonic versus D&Q. What's Dairy Queen?
Yeah.
Who's better for shakes? Oh, Dairy Queen. Hey,
yeah,
hands down.
Sonic's. They came and they left in Wisconsin because they were overpriced for crappy food.
Even the Walmart's not 24 hours by us anymore. It used to be a 24-hour Walmart. Go figure.
I never understood why they were 24 hours anyway. I thought that you would at least needed 3 or 4 to fumigate.
All I know is I used to be very grateful for that. Go in and picked up a couple of those salads and such. Yes, back when before I let myself go, I actually ate decent. Now I'm thinking, another McRib. Yeah, it's almost 11. I think I need to. Yeah, it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. I'm
waiting for the holiday pies. That's what I'm waiting for.
Yeah, Gail comes home. She's like, oh, I got 3 pies. I got and I forgot what one was pumpkin, one was apple, one and I don't know what the mincemeat is. It tastes horrible, but for some reason, anybody who I know that came from the north to live down here loves them. And I'm like, bullshit, you need 2 more.
I've never heard of it.
And you need a key lime. There cannot be a Thanksgiving without a key lime pie.
Okay, so anybody that was reading comics in the 50s and 60s know that's what, if you were threatening somebody, that's what you were going to make out of.
Yeah,
I remember that. Yeah,
you're going to be mincemeat.
Yes, I used to wonder, what is mincemeat?
It's beef suet, rump steak, raisins, brown sugar, brandy, candied circus peels or citrus peels.
Horrible.
Lemon juice, zest, nutmeg, and apples.
I know some people
and
like
hot
mincemeat pies.
I'm sorry, that's like mixing the main course and dessert into a goulash.
Well, I don't,
pie, if you will.
I don't like. Well, my aunt, my grandma was German, so she came from a German side, and they would actually, she'd come over, she'd have Jello, but she'd have like a bunch of fruit in the middle of it, the Jello things. So yeah. I never understood that.
Jello fruit salad.
Ugh.
Yeah.
I looked at that. I was like, nope.
What is that stuff like?
Stalin.
The it's like marshmallow whip and fruit. I know there's ambrosia salad or something like that.
Fruit cocktail. Usually.
Yeah, that stuff is good. All right, so 20 minutes ago I said we're going. So, gang, have a good night. We'll probably see you tomorrow. I don't know what our plans are for Wednesday. Like I said, it's a crazy time. I don't want to schedule anything like promise we're doing the top 10s or anything.
I would.
So we're gonna keep it more casual. It will start at 9 Eastern ish. You know me, I'm a little bit late, so it's always 9 to 9:30. And Friday we are doing what we're doing again. We're gonna do
Sergeant
Rock Christmas Stories, something like that, right?
And remember, since we all pretend to care about family, but by 8 o'clock or so, we're sick of them. The 4-Color Fossils are doing a special Thursday edition at 8 o'clock Eastern. This week on the Gratu Orloff channel.
Okie dokie.
So you're all welcome to stop by. Stop by the studio if you're if you've had enough of family by.
I have no comics to show off, but I'll definitely.
We're not doing that this week. We're just probably gonna. I don't know what we're doing this week.
And tomorrow on Extreme Movie Show, Charlie Brown's having a Thanksgiving, and then after that, we'll be falling down with Michael Douglas.
Awesome.
So stop by.
Wait, when is this?
Tomorrow.
Venkman, I think you need to take off that hat and show off your Michael Douglas hairstyle from falling down.
I have to get my shirt, my tie.
I think it's full on Ace Ventura, and he takes it off, and it just goes right into the cloth.
It's more like Leon Phillips. Poof.
So will you have a full beard again by Friday?
Probably, if I go out again.
Wow, I've been working on this for 6 weeks now, and no, I'm just kidding. I had to shave that off. I cannot have a beard. No, even though I got so many freaking comments when I let it grow out, it just like crazy.
This is all the within a day.
You grow in a day. What I shave once a week, and you probably grow that much in 2 days.
I think all your hair, all your testosterone is going to your hair. That's what's keeping right now.
Waldorf sandwich. Get me the Statler Waldorf salad and a Statler salad, and we're all good to go. Oh, by the way, I don't know if this is relevant to anybody else, but is anybody this year bought Muppet Christmas Carol from Walmart? Because I want to know if that version has the missing song. Disney edited out a song.
I'll tell you what.
I've been VHS
still open. I will go up and buy that and come back, and you'll still be trying to say goodbye, and I'll let you know if it does.
Please do. You'll come back, you'll watch the movie, and halfway through it, and I'll still be, well, we got to go now, guys. I know this is
Disney
ending
Plus,
number 6 hours.
Disney Plus censored it?
No. It was done that way before. It's just that's the version that Disney Plus is showing. The thing is there's a song when he goes back with the Ghost Christmas Past that's between Ebenezer Scrooge and his girl, and
that song we're singing to each other.
Yeah, it's a nice little end of a romance song. It's a tearjerker kind of thing. I think somebody thought it was slow, so they took it out. But the thing is, they leave in the scene where they pass by Michael Caine. He's in tears, but you don't understand. There's not a reason for him to be crying at that point if you don't have the song in there.
Yeah.
So it's just, to me, it's better with the song. Plus, I like it. I don't know if I would call it the best version of A Christmas Carol. It definitely is my favorite version of A Christmas Carol, the Muppet Christmas Carol. So.
I have the original VHS, the collector's edition. Remember the Disney did those? And then I have the DVD.
So yeah, you probably have
the original
complete version. Yeah. All right, kids. Anyway, you guys have a great time as always. Don't forget to click like, share, subscribe. There's a Ko-Fi link in the description if you don't mind helping out the channel. I got to get my links to everything and start paying attention because I also have an Amazon thing going on. Anyway, once again, thanks to Eric and RDV for joining the conversation. As always, thank you very, very much for watching. Have a good night, kids.
All right, kiddies.